Welcome back to my channel. You can call me Pat. Today's topic, shout out to Jubilee. We have a very good conversation between liberal teen and conservative parent. So I'll put the video link in the description. Let me know what you think about it. I'll let you know what I think about it, and let's open a conversation about it. All right, let's do this.
Sources and show you their biases. The participants of this episode agreed to take the quiz and share their results. We encourage you to do the same.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. Cancel culture is a good thing.
I'm right away against cancel culture. I think it's just weak, right? And but let's go ahead and listen to what the kids have to say, and then I'll tell you what I think about it.
We have the freedom to say what you want, but everyone else has the freedom to respond and cancel you if you say something that is racist, homophobic, transphobic, etc. Cancel culture is definitely good in the means of deplatforming people who are spreading very hateful messages.
What is your opinion on Trump being cancelled on Twitter?
When you go onto Twitter or whatever, you check I accept the, guidelines, the community guidelines, I agree to follow them, and he didn't follow them, so Twitter has the right to take him off the app.
And for people that might make the counter argument that Twitter is biased and will only cancel right-wing politicians, that's not true at all. Twitter and other forms of social media have canceled left-wing activists. There is an equal balance on both sides.
All right, I'm against cancel culture. Since we're talking about canceling online, anybody should be able to use the privilege that internet gives you to be able to stand 20, 30, 40,000 miles from anybody else behind a camera and say whatever you have to say. If I disagree with what you have to say, like the kid said, I can respond to it, but I can also ignore it. Right? I can just ignore it. There are people right now who worship the devil, and they are online. You can go on YouTube and say and go and put worshiping the devil, and you will see people actually worshiping the devil. Right? Do whatever you want to do, bro. At the end of the day, we all know what's going to happen. But I disagree with it. I'm just going to ignore it. Okay? Actions speak louder than words for me. I'm against cancel culture, but let's go ahead and listen to what the parents here have to say.
You brought up canceling him off Twitter. I'm sorry, I disagree. When the Taliban can use our social media, but an ex-president can't, there is something wrong with that.
And I agree with that. He's a president. He should have some type of privilege because he's an elected official, and a lot of people want to hear what he has to say. I'm talking about Donald Trump. Me personally, I would have loved for him. I will still vote for him. I will still vote for him. I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I would have loved for Donald Trump to be a little bit more presidential-like. I know for a lot of people it doesn't really matter because like I said, action matters, right? Action matters the most when you compare actions and words. But I agree with what he has to say. There's no way a president will be canceled from Twitter or YouTube or whatever. It's just stupid. If you don't agree with what he has to say, then just don't listen. There are a lot of people out there, half of the United States, half of the population who voted for him, who wanted to hear what he has to say. So I think that wasn't fair to that part of the population.
Did the Taliban violate community guidelines?
It doesn't matter.
I think it matters
What?
to Twitter what their community guidelines are. That's why they banned Trump, because Trump violated community guidelines. That's what every platform has, whether it be TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
The Taliban stones people because they're gay.
If they've done that and they've posted videos of stoning gay people, I agree, they should be removed, and that is
100%.
fundamentally wrong. No,
Except
it's
the,
not.
the problem is they're smart enough
Wow.
to not do that.
Well,
then why wasn't Trump
then
smart
the
enough to
president
not do
wasn't
that?
smart enough to not do that, I guess.
If I'm an American and I have to vote between this person, I need equal access to both of them to decide what's right. Bro, you could be a
Amen.
Klansman, you could say you hate black people. That's not my job to police your language. I can't expect everybody to love me and think the way I think. All y'all think different. I mean, that's totally dope. But the fact that you want somebody removed because they think differently, that could be you one day.
Do you think freedom of speech is something that still exists in America?
We do have aspects of freedom of speech. Like you can't go into a movie theater and yell fire. So obviously there are limits of freedom of speech.
But they're picking and choosing who they're silencing and who they're letting talk.
If people react negatively to what you say, it goes both ways. You can't just say
Sure.
that, oh, they
100%.
can't. Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I agree with what the black guy here said. That was really, really dope what he just said. And I would like to say the conversation I love and I cherish the most are the conversation with the people I disagree with. Yeah, because when you talk to somebody you disagree with, you can learn something. This is a great opportunity for you to learn from them, see their point of view, maybe find a middle ground, and learn from them. And they can learn from me too. For me, there's not that much advantage talking or having a conversation with somebody who agrees with you, because you already have the same thinking process and you already agree with a lot of things, right? So talking to the other side, trying to reach out to the other side is a great way to live your life, I can say. But shout out to the black guy here.
I need equal access to both of them to decide what's right. Bro, you could be a Klansman, you could say you hate black people. That's not my job to police your language. I can't expect everybody to love me and think the way I think. All y'all think different. I mean, that's totally dope. But the fact that you want somebody removed because they think differently, that could be you one day.
That's great. For example, the last election, I didn't vote for Joe Biden because when I think about who Joe Biden is and I look at his action, I don't really care that much about what he is saying, right? Because people, and you know that if you're watching this, you can say something today and regret it tomorrow. You can say something today and then tomorrow or a week later, found out you were wrong and be like, I shouldn't have said that, right? But your actions, bro, your actions. Here's how action works. You think about it first. You think about it and then you act. That's how 90% of the time, maybe 80 and up percent of the time, that's how actions happen. You think about what you're going to do, right? And then you do it. That's why for me, that has more weight, right? And when we think about Joe Biden, for example, Joe Biden, I'm going into politics, but let me just say this. I didn't vote for Joe Biden because when I look at his past and I look at his everything he accomplished in his 45, 50 years almost in as a politician, I see the 1994 crime bill. He said a lot of crazy things, but when I see his action, 1994 crime bill, put a bunch of black people in jail for tiny little offense, right? That says a lot to me. And then when you actually look at the good thing he did for the nation for the past 45, 50 years, you don't see anything. Bro, it's like a job application, right? But anyway, good job to the black guy here. I agree with him, but obviously a black conservative, I agree with what he has to say.
Do you think freedom of speech is something that still exists in America?
We do have aspects of freedom of speech. Like you can't go into a movie theater and yell fire. So obviously there are limits of freedom of speech.
But they're picking and choosing who they're silencing and who they're letting talk.
If people react negatively to what you say, it goes both ways. You can't just say that, oh, they
100%.
can't. Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
America is becoming less and less safe.
I'm just going to say right away, it depends on where you are living and it depends on the type of people you have around you. But America becoming less and less safe, I'll say yes. But let's listen.
I'll leave this to you guys.
So I have a lot of friends that have been in the military for the last 20 years because they refused to get vaccinated. They told me that they would be dishonorably discharged or kicked out of the military. I just believe we're losing a lot of good servicemen with the current situation that we're in right now.
True. A lot of police officers are down. Crime is up all over. When police aren't there, we're murdering each other at a really high rate. Police are in those neighborhoods because the homicide rate is high. Y'all can run around talking about police all you want, but I challenge any of these liberal kids to spend 2 weeks in the environment I grew up in, and I promise your perspective will change.
The one advantage we have about being older, we've been through a threat or two. And our enemies, like China, the Communist Party in China, they're laughing at us. Russia's like, we don't need to do much. They're gonna screw it up on their own. We need to get the help of our younger people that haven't been through a threat before to realize a lot of what's going on is not good.
I'm not even trying to be biased or anything, but obviously they're conservative, so we agreed on a lot of things. Yeah, America is less and less safe, especially for certain area. For example, I don't know why you want to live in Chicago, bro. Like, babies are getting shot in their home. in Chicago from people's walking outside and just shooting around, right? You can go to a funeral in Chicago and get shot outside. And those are videos that you can Google right now, all right? So I agree with that. Less and less safe. But it's mostly, in my opinion, it's mostly, not even in my opinion, that's fact. It's mostly Democrat-run cities, okay? But let's go ahead and keep watching.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
I actually wished I came up here for the agreeing section because I think I interpreted the definition of safety the same way that you guys did, but after hearing your guys' conversation, I started thinking about how our American people aren't safe in the face of like imminent like climate disasters that are coming our way, and how we don't have the infrastructure to deal with that.
I actually very much agree with that, because I think we need to define like kind of like what we mean by like we're less safe now. Do we mean like there's more homicides after COVID, or like what do we mean?
I would say before we got rid of half our military, half our police force, you know, slavery was legal, the Holocaust was legal. So we can look at all of these mass atrocities and say we're doing what's right. Everybody who was a part of the Holocaust government, they were doing what Hitler said. They were doing what was right. So everybody losing their job for not getting vaxxed, and all the vax people, you got who can we control? Everybody who get the shot, that's who's gonna do what we say. The enemies are coming, and we don't care about that because we wanna care about what color we should wear and pride and critical race theory. It's like no one else cares about that but us in America. That's our problem.
So you think
Fact!
that talking about sexual orientation and all that kind of stuff takes away from the safety of our country?
Nobody cares about our sexual orientation. Really? These poor kids.
Who you sleep with has no merit in the real world. What does it matter?
Okay, let's just broaden the scope. With the coronavirus pandemic, why did it take weeks for us as a country to mobilize together to fight the public health crisis that was already affecting the nation?
It was a scam to get Donald Trump out of office. It's all fake. It's my opinion.
I agree with you.
I agree with him. I do agree with him. It was a scam. But what I'm going to say about the election, since they're talking about Donald Trump getting out of office, is Republican trying to play nice. Democrats play dirty. When you go into an election where people will be able to get a little bit more power after the election, bro, you got to be prepared. And Democrats were prepared. They were prepared. Republicans were not prepared at all. So my thing is, what I have to say about this is for the next election, because Joe Biden won the election, bro. That's why he's the president right now, right? If you go to the White House, you will find, maybe he's not even there, I don't even know. But the president of the United States right now is Joe Biden, because Democrats were prepared and they won. So next time, whatever happened, and we all know what happened, right? Hey, I'm giving you a wink, wink here. We know what happened. But next time, Republican, please be prepared, bro. Be prepared. Instead of coming and cry after that, right? You just lost because you weren't prepared. So let's keep watching.
I think that we could create, or the Democrats could create some international plan, getting all of these scientific communities outside of just the US and even international governments on their side for something that they're just trying to get Trump out of office. I feel like that's heavily ridiculous.
Trump was the thorn that nobody saw coming, and they had to find a way to get him out of there. If there's no mail-in voting, 100% Trump is the president right now, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because overwhelmingly mail-in ballots were to Biden. That's obvious. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not because mail-in ballots are fraudulent, because mail-in ballots are actually not fraudulent at all. That this election was the safest election in recorded history.
There's a lot of videos, so you see people with fake ballots. So that's here and there. I'm not.
That's just hearsay from random people on TikTok. Are we really gonna like take that as like empirical evidence?
That poor kid is watching CNN and MSNBC. I can tell. He doesn't watch any other local news or general news or even read any article. I can show you an article here right now. This right here, I'll go back to the video, but this right here is from the Time magazine, all right? The secret history of the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election. All right, you can go ahead and read this. It says here, a second odd thing happened amid Trump's attempt to reverse the result. Corporate America turned on him. Hundreds of major business leaders, many of whom had backed Trump's candidacy and supported his policy, called on him to concede to the president. Something fell amiss, right? It was all very, very strange. Trump said on December 2, within day after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint the winner, even while many key states were still being counted. And it says here, In a way, Trump was right. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scene, what that both curtailed the protests and coordinated the resistance from CEO. Bro, you gotta read this article, all right? Let's just go back to the video. But this article is really, really, really good. But anyway, let's keep watching.
My news source is more reliable than the other side's.
News source.
See, that's the thing about news source. I try my best to look at everything. Right? I look at everything. I look on the right and I look on the left. Because here's the thing. For example, let me take an example for the COVID, for example. On the left, they are trying to hype this whole COVID situation to a limit, to a point where it's just crazy. But on the right, on the right, what they're doing is they're downplaying a little bit too much for me. Okay, we all know COVID is real. Bro, don't try to lie to yourself. There's too many people getting COVID for you to think, oh, it's not real. Bro, it is real. But on the left, they are trying to hype it up. On the right, they are downplaying it. If I go on the left, for example, if you're watching MSNBC, CNN more specifically, what is the last time CNN gave you numbers on the people who got COVID and actually got better? Like a percentage. They won't give you that. That's why they give you the cases. That's why every time you turn CNN on, there's cases. When you think about cases, how many people in those cases actually turns out to be all right or have no symptoms at all and are doing great? You don't know because CNN won't give you those numbers. Those numbers actually will be great because people will know that, there's a chance, but they don't want that, right? But on the right, they just choose not to even talk about it that way with numbers or anything, right? So it's downplaying on one side, overhyping it on the other side. Try to be in the middle, bro, and try to use common sense.
When I look at conservative news, I see a lot of conspiracies that I don't necessarily agree with. And so if everything comes from opinion and just people developing their own ideas, it just doesn't seem reliable to me.
I feel like the only way we can get unbiased news is in order for news media organizations to stop prioritizing having really vivid headlines that might not necessarily be 100% accurate.
I think that starts with putting people over profit. They want the biggest story or whatever, and they don't want to actually give the news that would be beneficial to our everyday average.
I agree with him.
And I think that if we put a lot more focus on putting people first instead of the big news or the big story, we can change that aspect of society.
I agree with you 100%. Like I say the civil rights movement is the civil rights entertainment industry because it's so profitable. Put a police shooting on TV, it's breaking news, every headline, it's on every social media, you're selling shirts, you're selling signs. That's so much more profitable than showing me and you shaking hands. The news media is literally capitalizing off the emotions of society. No matter how you feel about it, handle it in your privacy of your house. Why? Because if you can do it on camera, somebody's gonna make $1 off of it, and that's not fair to you.
Young people today are too sensitive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on, bro.
So I think it's a good thing that young people are sensitive. I think today they can be more sensitive than what they probably could have been 30 or 40 years ago. The growing up was the Berlin crisis, the Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, we had the threat of annihilation, staring at us several times. And a lot of times I go, thank God John Kennedy handled it.
The country has been spoiled for so long. They're trying to make it so a man can't be a man. And if you don't let men be men, then things start crumbling. Society crumbles, families crumble, and broken homes start happening.
And kids need their fathers. So 36% of kids don't have a father. So every boy is, well, my mom is mad at me, my dad don't love me, my dad don't care about me. Maybe I should be gay, maybe I should be trans, I don't know who I am. And your father puts confidence in you. No disrespect to anybody, but the younger generation of men are soft. And if we had to go to war, they're not protecting America. There's no better place to be as a black individual or whatever you are in America. Go to the Middle East right now and say you gay or you trans and see how they treat you.
Bro, I agree with what this guy is saying. I agree with everything he's saying. I have an accent, you can tell, maybe not. I was born in Africa and I moved into this beautiful country when I was 16, right? And I'm not going back. This is the greatest country on earth, bro. Look at the border. people are coming from everywhere. The United States of America is one of the only countries in the world where you can find people from almost every race in the world, bro. Think about it. But some people want to tell you, oh, this country is racist, the United States is racist, or whatever. There are countries in the world where you cannot find a black person. All right? So I agree with what he has to say there.
Can we have the disagreeer step forward?
Young people are sensitive today.
This idea that because men are being raised by women that they're weaker is, in my opinion, completely false. Our generation, it's not more sensitive, we're more aware of all these things. Being transgender and gay is not something that should be ashamed of or make you feel less in today's society. That is why women are fighting for equality.
What equality women are? You are a woman right now sitting in a room with a bunch of men. How are you not equal to them? Like right now, when you're looking at her, like right now, we almost had a woman president. Hillary Clinton almost became president, bro. She messed up because of her past and her past action, because actions speak louder than words, right?
This idea that because they only have a mom, they're weaker, or because, they're more sensitive, that's, in my opinion, completely false.
And I would say in the environment that I grew up in, the teen pregnancies come from girls without fathers. The homicides come from people without fathers. Every girl that I know, if they grow up with a daddy, they get married before they have a kid.
Why do they not have fathers?
If you want me to be real, because a lot of women make bad choices on the men they procreate with. If you make a bad choice, that's your responsibility. Every bad thing that I did in my life, it was when my daddy was in jail. When my dad was out and I had my dad's reassurance, I was a better person.
I had one daughter that had to move across the country to get rid of a toxic relationship with somebody that was harming them.
Why does the woman have to move across the country because the man is being toxic? Why can't the man be taught, don't be toxic?
Oh, I agree.
Women nowadays have to deal with those kinds of relationships. The mother knows better, I would say, than the father about that.
The black guy just said it. Like, he just basically explained that to her. When a boy is being raised without a father and raised by his mom, he's not saying 100%. He doesn't say all the time. But I'll say 60, 70% of the time, yeah, he's going to turn out to be just a toxic person, because he's going to be raised, he's being raised by a woman, and because she's a little bit more emotional by nature, he's going to turn out to be an emotional guy also, right? He's going to be more emotional because he's raised by a woman. You need a father present. You need that masculinity in your life, right? For you to be able to look at another man as an example, as a model, and act like a man. It's just pooger.
We're not more sensitive, there's just more opportunities for us to be sensitive. You can say like 15, 20 years ago, there weren't videos of black men being shot by police all over the internet. Now that that's there, people are more inclined to feel a certain way or take a stance on that topic.
Do you think it would be more beneficial to show police also interacting with white guys? Because more white guys get killed than black guys by cops.
If you look at the amount of white people and the amount of black people, there are going to be more white people killed because there are more white people in America. The percentage of black people that are being killed is higher than the percentage of white people.
Let me show you something real quick. My source here is the U.S. Department of Justice, statistical brief. Race, it says here January 2021. Race and ethnicity of violent crime offender and arrestee 2018. Here, table 1 right here. Race or ethnicity of the U.S. resident population and of person arrested for non-fatal violent crime 2018. It says here, white, race ethnicity white, 60% of the population committing 45% of the crime. That's underrepresented. Look at black people, 12.5, 33% of non-fatal violent crime and 36% of non-fatal violent crime excluding other assault. You are overrepresenting, bro. Do you see the difference here? You see the difference? Look at Hispanic, 18% committing 17% of the crime. That kind of makes sense, right? There's a direct correlation between the two. Look at American Indian, 0.7% of the population, 1.9. Asian, 5.7, 1.3. So it's actually more safe to be around Asian when you think about it. But black people, bro, I am black, and I say, as a black person, the black community, we have to do better. Go to Chicago. The majority of people getting killed in Chicago are killed by black people. It is what it is. So they lost that argument right there. Let's go back.
Well, just because you're pulled over doesn't mean you have to resist. I mean, they don't just kill you when they pull you over. It's all about based on how you perform as an individual. I've been pulled over and never had a bad interaction in my life. When I was rude, I got snatched out the car. Everything is a personal choice. If you can't take accountability for your life, then you will forever be a slave.
That's not true. There are definitely issues on the side of policing. Black communities, majority POC communities are over-policed. There's larger patrols in black communities. There are police work longer hours in majority black communities.
I'll just show you why. 13% of the population committing 33 to 36% of the crime. Like, bro, what's 13 times 3? 39. Are you serious? That's like 3 times more, bro. Anyway, I just want to say also, I agree with what the black guy there is saying. Some people will say I'm biased, but I agree with what he's saying. I got stopped. I got pulled over by the police before. I have 2 examples. Once, I got pulled over because I was speeding, and I was speeding because I was late for class or work, one of the two. And the police officer said, you were speeding. I said, yeah, I know I was speeding. I'm not going to lie. He probably have the proof that I was speeding. So he gave me a ticket, or he gave me the option, you want to come to court or you want to pay the ticket? I said, I'll pay the ticket. Why would I want to go to court? I already know I was speeding. And he probably has the proof. So I took the ticket and I just pay it. I paid the ticket. That's it. Over. Another time though, I was driving, it was at night, I was coming from, I think, a party or something, and I was on cruise control. And I was doing, I think, 62 or 63. I was on cruise control, so I know I wasn't speeding, and the speed limit was 60, right? So I was doing like 62, so I know I'm not going crazy. But the police officer stopped me and said I was doing like 70. So yes, there are bad police officers out there. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, all cops are good. No, there are bad people in every profession. You can go to McDonald's right now, ask for a burger, and somebody will give you a burger with no cheese or I don't know, right? And all the bread is some type of way. There are bad performer in every profession. So when the police officer told me I was speeding and I knew I wasn't, for me in my heart, it was like, no, bro, like you are not telling the truth. So when he gave me the option of you going to court or you paying the ticket, I said, I'm going to court. And that was my first time ever going to court. First time ever. I went to court, and what happened? Dude didn't show up. He wasn't there. I sat there. The judge called my name and then read the reason why I was there, looked around and said, okay, the police officer is not there, so you're free to go. And I just got up and I just left. So let's just keep going, bro.
There's an issue from the policing side as well.
Politics has damaged my relationship with a loved one.
I'm sure you could relate to this as well, but in the Asian community, there's a lot of anti-blackness. So with the advent of the Black Lives Matter movement this past year, having conversations with my parents was really difficult, especially around the nuances of racial justice and sort of like what the movement was fighting for and how to articulate that in like the very closed mindset that my parents had.
A lot of my family voted for Trump in the past election, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't like to say this, but it made me view their morals a little bit differently, and they're willing to adapt and change was so different, and I was just like shocked because I wanted to understand their side and really talk about it, and I was met with, you're wrong, and we don't want to talk about it, and that kind of really damaged just kind of the way I looked at them.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I also think that it just made me less willing to expend the energy to have political or like just like any like hard conversations with my parents or anyone else in my family.
Yeah, when you think about it, politics is dividing families, and friendships are, getting destroyed by politics and all that, because most people are not willing to, hear the other side. And I'm gonna be honest, it's mostly people on the left. People on the left don't want to hear what you have to say. How many times did you watch a video of Ben Shapiro or what's his name, Steven Crowder, trying to go into campus, and the student don't even want to hear what they have to say. They don't even want to have a conversation with them, right? So I think it's mostly people on the left because, yeah, they are emotional. And action for them don't means nothing. They care about what you have to say. And when what you have to say is a little bit too much for them, they want to cancel you. Like those kids, they agree to it. They want to cancel you if you're saying something they disagree with. Like, or if you had a mean tweet. What's a mean tweet? Or you saying things online that... Anyway, it's just, it is what it is, bro.
You know, I read a lot of the tragic stories where family members don't talk to each other anymore. Personally, I think that's sad. Do all my family members vote the same? No. Do we have a pretty good idea of how family members may have voted? Yeah. But we went more of agree to disagree. I'm not going to not buy you a present for Christmas because, you know, you decided to vote for somebody that I don't like.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Families are special.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got too many people, as you've talked about, that don't have them.
When I took this prompt, I kind of took it more of like my view of the person changed differently because, not because of the way they voted, but because some of their values to me were, like you said, moral values, and that shows kind of part of their characters.
Would you say that morality is subjective to each individual person though? Or would you say morals are the same across the board?
The basic is human equality for all. And so if you don't believe that somebody should have an equality based on their gender, their sexual orientation, or their race, or anything like that, that's a moral problem in my eyes.
That poor girl, when she talk about equality, I'm pretty sure she doesn't even understand what she's saying. What do you mean by equality? We are all equal. This is the United States of America. We are all equal. I have the same right as a Native American, or white person, or an Hispanic person. We all have the same right. But I'm pretty sure when she talk about equality, she's talking about the fact that some people maybe have more money or have a better life, that you think they have a better life because they have more opportunity and more access to resources than you. I'm pretty sure that's what she's thinking about. But think about this. Did you put the same amount of work? Right? Exactly.
That's a huge thing with the trans and the gay and the LGBTQ and all that whole thing. So I grew up LDS, being Utah County, it's like 95% Mormon. At 8 years old is when you get baptized. And so if you're raised around where 95% of people think the exact same way, I feel like that's too young of an age where you're a child and you don't really know what you're doing. And so where I have a problem with the trans or these different things is they're getting kids at like 10, 12 years old and they're pushing them down that path.
Who's they?
Who's they?
Who's they? Bro, I posted a video. This kid, they don't do research. They probably have friends, professor, person around them telling them things, and then they're watching a specific type of media. And I posted a video a couple weeks ago of a situation that happened in California where a mother was mad at a school board because her daughter was being coached. A 12-year-old daughter, 12 or 13-year-old daughter, was being coached into a gender identity. All right? Her daughter was being coached into thinking she was a boy. And the person who was doing that told the daughter, don't tell your mom, to the point where they actually changed her name. They were able to actually change her name in school into a boy's name. So that's the problem that I have with people like transgender. Or if you want to be transgender or whatever you want to do, good. But the problem is the moment you are trying to indoctrinate kids, the moment you are trying to recruit, that's when we have a problem. Leave kids alone, bro. Leave kids alone. You want to live your type of life with 10, 11, 12 pronouns because you are confused, you don't know which pronouns you're supposed to have? How can you have like 5 pronouns, bro? He, she, they, whatever, demon pronoun. There was a kid saying that their pronoun was demon. Like, what? Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Who's indoctrinating these kids into becoming LGBTQ and
oh my God.
There's a lot of groups out there.
Like?
I've just heard that there's groups out there. I don't know. You don't think there's groups out there that do that?
No.
I'm assuming you're a straight man, so I think it's weird for you to comment on the queer experience and what that's like for someone growing up who's struggling with those experiences. The way you're describing it as indoctrination, people who are
It is
figuring out their
indoctrination.
sexualities and their queer identities aren't necessarily going to ascribe to the first labels that are put before them.
If I'm not mistaken, the brain isn't fully developed until you're 25 years old, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So I know how I used to think at 16, man. I know how I used to think at 21. Man, I'm not against kids doing whatever they want. It's just the older you get, you change. I got my first tattoo at 15. I'm covered now. If I was a little older, I probably would have waited. When you're young, you're not thinking. And everybody has made a bad choice. And because you stressed out, you go change your gender. Because you want to try something new, once you do it, you can't go back. The more you throw stuff at kids before they developed, that's indoctrination because you're trying to get them while they're not fully cognitive to know what's going on.
The old
Facts. Yo, that man he's like the facts. Bro, when I left my mom's house, I was raised by my mom. My father was around, but not as much as I wanted. So I was raised by my mom's house. At 16, I left, right? And that really helped me because it helped me grow. I started growing a little bit faster and I was on my own. So I had to make decision and I had God with me and I am thankful. I never had any things like tattoos or anything like that. I didn't make that many bad decisions because I knew I was on my own. If I do something crazy or dumb and I end up in jail, bro, who's gonna pay for the fees or who's gonna get me out of there? Like, so yeah, I agree with what he's saying.
The older you get, the more conservative you become.
Facts. I can't wait for these 3 kids on the left to get on the real life, right? And start paying taxes, get a job, and somebody comes and tell them, okay, you know what? We're going to raise your taxes because we want that guy who's sitting in a corner over there who doesn't have a job and who's getting a government free hands out. And those guys sitting over there just waiting for a stimulus check, right? And we want them to have the same amount, the same, we want them to be equal as you. Even though they're not putting the same amount of work, we're going to raise your taxes. So that guy sitting in a corner over there, yeah, you guys can have the same opportunity and outcome and all that. And then I want to see how they react to it.
When I got older and I had kids and I had a family, I actually started reading policies. Everything about me changed when I became a father because I had a reason to. And I'm sure you would agree with that.
Yeah. As I've gotten older and the environment we're in right now, I feel like they're trying to cancel the Constitution. They're trying to cancel Christianity.
I mean, most teenagers are liberal. I was liberal when I was teen. It's fun. Culture is liberal. So and when you're younger, you're going to be a part of culture.
Right.
When you're older, you're trying to raise your family. You don't have a time to care about what LeBron James said or who did that. Just when you mature, you value what's around you.
I've been a Christian my whole life. I was baptized at birth. I went to church my whole life until I moved to the United States because it was just crazy. There's so many church and you don't even know where to go. And then I realized some church are more focused on the money. And then some people don't even pray at home. You only pray at church. And I'm like, what? So there was a lot going on. But what I'm trying to say is my mother told me something when I was 8 or 9 years old that I carry with me my whole life. And as a kid, I believed it because I really loved the stories in the Bible and I believed in God my whole life. So she told me it doesn't matter. And what I did at the time is I stole money from her. I think it was like the equivalent of $1 or $2 from her, and she knew. And what she told me that day probably shaped me. She said, do you believe in God? I said, yes. She said, when you stole money, you think nobody is seeing you, right? I said, yeah, kinda. She said, okay, God sees you. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you are hiding under a rock and you're doing something bad under there, God will see you. And as a kid, it really marked me for the rest of my life, right? And I knew every action, everything that I do for the rest of my life, God will see me. And because I know when I die, I'll see my maker, I don't want him to open a book and say, ooh, bro, look at the list of the thing that you did, right? So that's just me.
Building off of what you're saying about like teenagers, we're a different generation, and so we view the world differently, and I think that's probably why you've seen more teenagers be liberal, because we just view the world that way, but I don't think it has anything to do with
No, my generation, I was liberal too when I was a teenager, and all my friends were too. And when you're a teenager, life is fun. It's just totally, you kick it, you party. So that's what I'm saying. I get the teenage. As you grow, you either can run away from responsibility or embrace responsibility. When there's real things going on, you start looking at life a little different. Versus when I was young, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about corporate gains tax, and I didn't know about my stock account, and I didn't know that I can, all these things that I didn't know when I was a kid.
So when people are generally talking about taxing the rich more, they're talking about the top 400 billionaires that are literally paying a lower effective tax rate in taxes than the middle class. The top 400 billionaires paying an effective tax rate of 8%, that's obviously not a fair share. And I think obviously everyone can agree here that they should be paying at least a fair share, right?
No, what do you mean fair share? No. See, here's the thing. I'm going to say this. As a man, how can you look at another man's pocket and start envisioning or planning whatever you feel like you should have, whatever you feel like society is owing you from another man's pocket? That is so weak. How about you go and become a billionaire and then give all your money to the government or to people that are sitting out there not doing anything, waiting on government payout and government free stuff? How about you do that? All right, work hard, only sleep like 3-4 hours a night, become a billionaire, and then get all your money, give it to the people that are sitting out there that are not putting the amount of work that you are putting every day. The people that don't want to go to school, the people that decide they just want to smash and grabbing. You go and you give them your money so you and them can have the same amount. You can be equal. That is so dumb, bro. And that is so weak for a man to think that way. As a man, you should be proud to get up every day, work for what you have, and then provide for your family. As a man, you should be proud of that. But that's the problem nowadays. Kids like this kid thinks like he can use somebody else's money for whatever plan he has in head. Like he has in his head. It's just like,
How do you increase taxes on someone's assets, though? Most of those billionaires aren't.
Unrealized capital gains is how they're specifically trying to do it now, but it would be through long-term capital gains, because a lot of the people who are paying those taxes, they're paying capital gains tax rate. There's also tax loopholes that have been lobbied into Congress by big corporations and big businesses lobbying politicians to get whatever they want.
So if you get older and you work yourself off and you become a multimillionaire, you deserve to pay more because other people didn't work as hard as you?
But it's not because other people didn't work as hard as me. It's because we, as a society, want to give everyone access to things like basic necessities like healthcare, education, have everyone have an equal opportunity. We don't have that right now.
I was born in Africa. I came in the United States when I was 16 years old. I worked my way through high school here. All right, I speak French, so I had to learn the language. I worked my way through high school, college, and I got a job. Anybody can do it, bro. Anybody can do it. I'm like Biden right now. Anybody can do it. This kid, he doesn't believe what he's saying. He's just repeating some of the talking point that some people, maybe his teacher, his friends, or whatever is having, right? It makes no sense. It makes no sense, bro. We have equal opportunity. All of us in this country. You can come from anywhere in the world, in the United States, the greatest country on earth. If you work hard and you believe in God, right? Those two, work hard, believe in God. For me, that's it. You're going to make it.
You can have equal opportunity of a baseline, but the outcome would still be different because every individual is going to work different levels,
well,
correct?
Obviously.
Yep.
Right. So I think that's where we are as a society. I was able to pull it off. I graduated high school with a 1.9 GPA. I don't have a college degree. So the only limits are the limits you place on yourself. That's just my perspective.
America
Facts.
is the best country in the world.
Of course, America is the best country in the world. Look at the border. People are coming from everywhere into this beautiful country. America is the best country in the world, all right?
I think despite all of our challenges and problems, when you look at all the other countries of the world, everybody is still trying to come here.
The way I
Yep.
can talk out loud, the way I can feel myself, the way I can express myself fully as an individual.
Yeah.
It ain't many places black men can go do that outside
Nope.
of America.
3
Nope.
years ago, when I got into the court systems and the different rights taken away from me and government control and government power. And so when you have that stuff stripped away from you and you realize most other countries don't have the freedom that America has.
Yeah.
America has been the greatest
Yeah.
country ever, and I think it will continue because of a lot of good people that stand up for the right things.
I think
All right,
I'd
let's
like to
hear
ask
this.
a question. What is America the best at?
At everything. America is the best country for everything. Are you talented? Can you sing? Can you run? Can you, I don't know, bro, choose it. Can you draw? Can you, bro, I don't even know. Can you sing? Can you run? Can you draw? Can you play a sport? Whatever you can do, bro, if you are talented and you work hard at it, in United States of America, you can make it. You can go to college. If you can play golf, you can get a scholarship and then pay your way through college. If you can, I don't even, bro, this kid, it's so, oh Lord.
We just was talking about the freedoms that we have here versus what they don't have in other countries.
So
Yep.
what about places in Scandinavia that actually have higher amounts of freedom? They have better democracies than we do here, higher quality of life, higher median income. They have healthcare systems that are more efficient.
Move there, move there. Please, somebody ask that kid, would you move, leave America, and go to Scandinavia? If you have the means, like we give you the money, would you do it?
Take care of everyone in their population, more access to education.
But when you look at the big picture,
More access to education. More access to education. What is he even saying?
everybody wants to come here. Millions of people are not trying to get into Scandinavia
Why?
Facts.
because we have more opportunity.
You answer why. You say Scandinavia is better than United States.
Than any other place in the world.
We don't even make the top 25 in women equality.
But we have a better opportunity to do something about it compared to other countries. And I would love it for Europe to open their borders the way we have and see if you can get people from other parts of the world to do mass migration to Europe.
I was going to mention Scandinavian countries as well, but I think it's also important to address that Scandinavian countries are very homogenous, racially, socioeconomically. They don't face the same geographic diversity that we have. What you were mentioning with the fact that we have the opportunity to write with women inequality, why is that not happening? It's because the way our democracy is set up, our Congress is literally in a gridlock right now, as it has been for so many past sessions of Congress. We aren't getting anything productive done.
The opportunity we have here is incredible, and I'm very happy that I live here and not somewhere else.
Amen.
We are so focused on, oh, America is the best, that we don't look at these other countries and say, why are all those people so happy, and what is that, and how can we?
Who told you they're happy? Where? See, this is the problem with young kids nowadays. They look at social media. They're the type of kid looking at social media and watching their friend posting a video of them smiling and be like, oh, live your best life. And they think they're happy. When people are happy, they don't have time to post videos and go on social media every single day posting video of their daily life and whatever. Unless they're trying to make money, unless it's a blog or whatever. No. Happy people, they just live their life because they're happy. People that are not that happy and are looking for some type of validation, those are the ones you see on social media every single day because they want somebody to tell them that they are looking good, they are okay, and whatever. It's just the way it is.
Incorporate that into our society.
I mean, I would say I think diversity is good. I think diversity of thought and diversity of opinion it's super helpful. It's really easy to get clogged up into this groupthink. So I don't expect anyone else to agree with me or feel the way I feel. I just expect you to respect my right to feel this way. I respect your right to feel this way, and we keep it moving.
100% agree. I couldn't agree more, actually.
Awesome, that's a wrap.
Thank you for this video, man. That was a really good conversation. And I agree. I love conversation where I can have somebody from the other side, somebody who disagree with me, willing to talk to me so we can, trying to find a common ground. But let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. And thank you. God bless you. And I'll see you on the next one.